I went with a lot of knife skills, and then I went with foams.
I just kept buying the same spatula from the store in the game, the in-game spatula.
You get that spatula free for pre-ordering.
Are there any games coming out?
No.
No?
No, Q4 is traditionally very, very slow. We're just gonna have to wait until.
Are they making one of those new game machines to play the games on? Oh yeah, okay.
I think we have one of those.
Oh.
Yeah, Nintendo gave us one of those, and they gave us a stack of some of their launch titles.
This is how big the stack is.
It's like a stack. If you put it down like there, it's like this.
Huh.
It's the standard stack metric stack.
Okay.
We got like a metric stack. Nothing to me thus far, and we have to dive into these a little bit more, obviously, but...
We should probably play them.
Yeah! We could play them. No, nothing thus far is like the ooh-ah, this grabs me, this is the system seller, this is the launch title for me.
But what was?
Like ever in history? I think
of all time.
Well, this is why it's surprising me. It's surprising to me that I didn't see anything that grabbed me, is because my two favorite system launches of all time were the original NES and the N64. And I think Mario 64 is the greatest launch title of all time. It's the best example of how to launch a system. It showed off new technology. It played perfectly. It was a beloved franchise that we were all into anyway. And what are we, like, we're 15, 20 years down the line now, and it still is a game that you can sit down and play.
You know, I've heard that Nintendo Land is like the Super Mario 64 of our generation.
Terralong.
I think I heard that from an idiot.
What was your favorite launch title of all time? Rayman for the PlayStation.
Every Rayman, but also that one that you just said. Yeah, Rayman for the PlayStation, which I actually didn't even play on PlayStation. I played on PC.
Yeah, so that was a PlayStation launch title, but I remember the PlayStation launch being very just kind of like a fart in a windstorm. Like,
it was not great.
It was just like, oh, it was one day there weren't PlayStations, and then suddenly they kind of were there, but at the same time people were all looking at the N64. It was like, look at the N64, now look, oh, there's a PlayStation. But
there was a 4-month launch window where, as a Saturn fan, you felt pretty superior to all the PlayStation owners, because the Saturn launched with Virtua Fighter, which everybody wanted to play at the time. Like, Virtua Fighter was the biggest quarter-munching thing out there. Yeah. And then Panzer Dragoon, which I freaking love. Like, 3D rail shooters are just the worst things in the world now, but playing Panzer Dragoon back then really felt like doing something amazing. And then, of course, 4 months later, the PlayStation was just like the best thing in the world. And I was in really angry Sega denial.
You look at a lot of launch lineups, and I feel like there's kind of a big trade-off of like quantity and quality. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, there's that weird gray area of stuff that's not so much like a new game. And we're seeing this a lot with the Wii U, or with Rayman, for instance. This is a thing that showed up. It was a multi-platform launch that just happened to be like, but you could play it on a new thing. Yeah. And it's like, well, I don't already have that, so maybe I'll get it on a new thing.
Well, what's your favorite launch title? What do you think is the best example of one?
Well, damn, it's weird because I was thinking about it, and if you asked me what the best launch lineup was, I would say without hesitation N64. And honestly,
which was a 2-game launch lineup.
Exactly, which it was Mario 64 and Pilot Wings, but that's upon closer inspection. When we were kids, they didn't really, like, I feel like you didn't line up and go buy a console and buy like 6 games. You would like, maybe your friends would get consoles for Christmas, and at that point it was past the launch and enough time and games had come out. You know, they were kind of giving space to breathe.
I feel like there was less of a rush back then, like especially from the like company side, to try to get people like, now you've got all these pre-orders and everything. Like they want you to buy a Wii U months before the thing ever even launches.
I feel
people
like
used to get their gaming news from magazines that came out once every month.
I don't get it.
How weird is that?
I feel like the PS2, Xbox, Dreamcast era was where people really started looking as grown-ups, or at least as teens with disposable income, at what a launch lineup was, right? Like that's when it was finally like, dude, I know I'm buying this thing,
I can see
and
that.
I know it has to have good games. Yeah. Which the PS2 launch was not great. I
No.
really enjoyed Fantavision.
God, we were so excited. My buddy
But I'm not
got
going to say that's one of the best launch titles of all time,
My
right?
best friend got a PS2 for Christmas, and we were so stoked about that. We were like, look at it. It's like the PlayStation 1, except it stands up like that.
Popped a movie right in that thing,
it's
didn't
black.
you?
The best games he got were like Mission Impossible 2
Yeah.
on DVD,
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation on DVD, and to a lesser effect, DOA 2.
Yeah.
Which we were sort of like, I don't remember playing DOA 1 on anything, so we were like, wait, who are these people? That guy's a Teletubby. Everybody else has their tits out. Like,
Yeah.
what is going on here?
Which was at least marginally interesting.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
I don't know. I hadn't hit puberty,
It's in
so
a
I was
video
like,
game.
whatever. Yeah, but for my favorite launch title, I mean, going back to the N64, like I remember there just being a ton of really cool games. I feel
Yeah.
like everything before Perfect Dark came out was just really exciting and really cool because like it was like it's 3D and the controller has 3 prongs to it, even though it doesn't make any sense. And my favorite was, I think, Shadows of the Empire, which technically was a launch title in Europe. And I feel like by the time that people actually had N64s and their stepdads had gone to Radio Shack to buy the RF adapter you needed to hook it up to your old TV, you know, that didn't have, RCA inputs, Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. That was right after the Star Wars Special Edition came out. And we were like, man, how can they possibly make a video game that is something new I haven't seen? And they were like, what happens between 2 of the movies? And you're like, this, apparently.
I remember the it was the walker sequence, right? Did it open with a? I remember the walker sequence being like one of the coolest things that I had ever seen in a video game. I remember the rest of the game being kind of mediocre, but I remember that part being like, I love that they captured this in a game. This feels so Star Wars to me, and this is something that I've always wanted to do.
I feel like that was the first time we saw something that was familiar, the Hoth battle, except it was in a video game. And we were like, wow, if I'm squinting really hard, I can't really tell the difference. I might as well actually be playing as a Rebel Snowspeeder right there. So that's exciting. That's my pick.
Yeah.
And that wasn't actually really a launch title, but hey.
All good ones. I mean, there have been some good ones, and I think you can't necessarily judge a system by its launch lineup, but it is getting more and more important, you know?
Which is dumb.
The only good one that I remember, well, actually, there were 2 that I remember from the Xbox. I was really into, obviously, DOA 3. DOA 3 was a freaking great game, and it was just beautiful. And I remember hooking that up to one of my friends was like, his dad was crazy rich for no reason. I don't know what that was about, but he had like a little theater in his house. And I remember hooking up DOA 3 to like this projector, and I had never known anybody that had a projector in their house before. And then I think Halo wasn't the first time that I had ever linked 2 systems together, but it was the first time I had ever linked 2 systems together, and I was like, this is worth doing. Like Halo parties became kind of a big thing with a lot of dudes that I knew. Like I only did it once or twice. You know, I didn't really get into that whole Halo party scene.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, late at night,
Yeah.
those dudes who go to the Halo parties.
I,
What are we talking about? I don't know. I only went to like 1 or 2 and all we did was play Halo. But it was good, and I remember playing, you know, you had like 8 people and 2 TVs, and it was a lot, it was just a lot of fun. Every generation I was like, there's no way video games can get better.
Naturally.
well, now we have the Wii U.
So boom,
See, but
video games
Do you
can
still
never
feel
get
that
better.
way?
Sing party.
Sing Party, man.
Sing part, video games
You know what
can
I'm
never
really
get
excited
better.
about? Just Dance 4. Just Dance for what? Dance for
Freedom.
money? Dance for your life?
Justice.
Dance for your...
Happiness.
Yeah, exactly. Just Dance
We
for...
all have our own reasons to just
Just dance for your own reasons. Yeah.
Or daddy.
Just Dance for Daddy.
That's weird.
Wow.
You're getting
Wow.
weird.
Ew. Creepy. So weird. I'd rather play Sing Party.